So with the latest World of Warcraft expansion merely hours away, I have to ask myself, how many people actually care about WoW nowadays? I've never been asked if I'd make World of Warcraft videos again, though way back when I made a few guides that were quite useful for their time. But is there still an audience for WoW videos? If I made a video or two, would people watch them? I suppose there's one way to find out. Welcome to my tutorial for new players and tips for old players that are coming back after a long break. In this video, we'll go over some basic information that's not explained very well in the game, but you do need to know if you're in either of those two positions. Let's start with the new guys. One thing you're going to want to do is create additional chat windows. Sooner or later, you're going to wander into a city and have your chat log flooded with Thunder Fury links. To avoid this, do as is being demonstrated on screen. Right-click the General tab. Click Create New Window. Label this window whatever you'd like to call it. Right-click your new window. Click Settings. Checked boxes are things which will appear. Unchecked boxes won't appear. There's some more advanced settings available in the other tabs on the left, so you can customize it further if you so desire. There's also some options for font size adjustment if you need it. And if you're using a Mac and you can't right-click, well, you're fucked because Blizzard wants you to die cold and alone in a dumpster. Moving on, this thing. This is called a Blingtron. Engineers can craft him and sometimes set him down in front of a bank or auction house in populated cities, and once per day, if one is around, you can talk to him and get a present. The present usually contains items you can sell to a vendor for a few gold, which is helpful to a low-level character that's short on starting capital, especially if you're on a Starter Edition account and cannot use the auction house or trade with other players yet. The present quest is account bound, so you can't do it multiple times in a day on different characters. Now we'll get back to fundraising in just a minute. For the moment, let's go to the guys who played before and are coming back. If you're part of that demographic, there's a distinct possibility you're going to face the situation where some, or even most, of your friends and associates have transferred to other servers and your main is left cold and alone on a low-population server. 4 important things you should know if you've had a prolonged absence and are in that category. Number 1. Heirlooms can be mailed cross-server. If, for example, you're making an alt to film a YouTube video on a server that has 2 words in the title, you can either replace the space with a hyphen or simply delete the space. So for me, to mail an item to my newly created alt Pookie Priest on the Bleeding Hollow server, I'd type into the mailbox address Pookie Priest-Bleeding Hollow or Pookie Priest-Bleeding Hollow. Either one works. Got it? Okay, good. Number 2. While you can send heirlooms, and they are helpful, they're not as essential as they used to be. Guild leveling seems to have been removed, so you can join any random guild for the benefits to help you along, and after the stat squish, even without heirlooms, you'll still two-shot most stuff at low levels anyway, so it's easier, at least early on, than it was, say, a couple months prior. Number 3. Most non-equipable gimmick items have been added into a toy box page that now exists in your collections page alongside pets and mounts and are subsequently now account bound. So if you collected random gimmick items, some of them can now be moved into the toy box, though you'll need to log into your main character to add them to the collection. Number 4, and this point is the most important, if you are in the position where you're considering making an alt on another server as a returning player, one thing that might be off-putting is the idea of starting over completely separated from your wealth and ability to support yourself. However, that's not the case these days. At the start of Pandaland, when Pokemon battles were added to the game, pets were made account bound. However, most purchasable ones that aren't caught in the wild can be put back into a character's bags and then posted on the auction house and sold. This means you can effectively transfer assets from server to server by using your wealthy main to buy a bunch of pets from a vendor, sell them on a new server, and get your alt hundreds of gold for under 15 minutes worth of effort. All pet sales have a 1 silver deposit cost regardless of the post duration, and you should have 7 or 8 silver by doing the starting zone quests and selling random crap that you picked up. Run to the city, post some cheap pets with an enticing bid and reasonable buyout if you're making a YouTube video, or a few cheap ones and then a few expensive ones if you're serious about leveling the alt and not just making it for the sake of filming. Come back later, get paid. This allows you to offer your alts considerable financial support from across the servers by transferring assets of value, provided you have no moral qualms about stuffing small animals into cages and selling them so they can fight to the death. Now let's talk about raising capital as a brand new player separated from outside wealth. First thing you should do at level 5 is train a gathering profession. There are more professions to choose from, but skinning, herbalism, and mining, the 3 main gathering professions, provide experience when you pick flowers or mine ore, and that'll help you level up a bit. If you're just starting the game and don't know much about it, some raw materials gathered as you level will probably be of great use to you. Furthermore, the ore or flowers become assets that you can sell later on once you're not on a trial account anymore and can access trading in the auction house. Be sure to ask around about a good profession on your server or for your class. You might consider tailoring, for example, if you're a cloth armor wearing class. You can only have 2 primary professions per character, but you can delete a profession and put a new one in its place if you so desire. Understood? Good. Once you have a good bit of money as a new player, you should seek to improve quality of life a bit. Buy some bigger bags for starters. Normally netherweave bags offer a good amount of space for a competitive price, though that's not always the case, as prices vary from server to server for different items. You should also be made aware that if you decide to play on a server marked as a new player server, you're probably going to be among many other low-level players, which will significantly drive down the money you can make off of low-level crafting items and gathered materials. New player servers exist to try to fill up underpopulated locations, and you don't really get anything useful from playing on them in my experience. I'd usually recommend asking around for what kind of experience you want out of the game, and seeing if people point you to a certain server, or a lot of people give you the same recommendation. Of course, you may get trolls who tell you to commit suicide, so that's not necessarily a good idea to listen to them either. Maybe go to the WoW forums or somewhere and ask around if you're particular about your experience. Whatever. Anyway, that's it for this video. This is the first WoW video I've made in a very long time, and I'm considering making more WoW videos, probably related to money-making in Warlords of Draenor, collecting nifty stuff from old content, or whatever else I find useful. It'll depend largely on reception. If nobody cares about WoW, I'm not gonna make WoW stuff. So, if you like that content, do the like and comment and share thing, make sure people that need the info in the video see it. Blah blah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Later, YouTube.